to the Financial Legacy Podcast. I am your host, Maria Ellis. On every episode, I will bring you my perspective and the perspective of my guests on financial planning and financial legacy issues. Here on the Financial Legacy Podcast, we're changing lives one person at a time by creating your own financial plan and financial legacy. To help you create and enjoy your financial success, connect with us at financiallegacy.life for your complimentary consultation. Today, I would like to talk to you about some of the challenges and opportunities that you as a business owner will experience when creating your family legacy plan. In previous episodes, we talked about your decision to sell your business, whether you want to sell your business or not, right? So we explore that as an opportunity for you. In this particular podcast today, I will share with you an example of how one of my business owners decided not to sell her business, but instead to expand her business and bring the company to the next level of sales and profitability through a succession plan. So again, I start with a very basic question, right? And that important question is, what are some of the challenges and opportunities for you as the business owner, right? And as we know, one of these challenges and opportunities include whether or not to expand your business by investing in new technology, right? Technology is all around us. So in this regard, some of the challenges that business owners experience include insufficient funds, right? Not all the time we have sufficient funds, especially if you're a small or medium-sized company. So questions such as, is this the right time to invest in new technology? Is a good question, right? It's a relevant question. What will it cost you to invest in the new technology? How long will it take for this technology to become a profitable investment, right? So those are all very business and valid kinds of questions when trying to invest in new technology. So what would be some of the considerations? Why would you want to invest in new technology? So some of the reasons could be, of course, you want to maintain your current clients, right? And you also want to attract new clients, new customers. That's an important consideration for you, of course. Another is client dependency. For instance, what percentage of your total sales are centered around a few clients? So this is a risky situation if you have a high concentration on sales and a specific client, because it may affect your cash flow, right? If any of these clients are not paying on time, or even worse, if they are not able to pay, then you will have a large concentration of receivables from very few clients, and that's not a good place to be, right? So the business owner needs to constantly be hiring and keeping qualified staff. It's very critical to do that. You also need to pay attention to the ever-present risk of product obsolescence, right? Product obsolescence due to the lack of product innovation. So those the need for investing in new technology. So I will share with you an interesting challenge and opportunity that was successfully resolved by one of my clients when she realized that her company had not invested the time, the talent, or the money in innovation, in improving the technology. And she had actually an online business, which is very critical and very technology based, right? So she had not created new products, or she had not improved the products or services that she was selling for years to her existing clients. So the company really needed to make a decision. The company's numbers of clients had not increased over the years, over the last 5 years actually. Yet lucky enough for this customer, for this client of mine, she remained profitable. And the reason for that was because she had very large operating margins, right? So operating margins, as you know, is, revenue sales minus your cost of goods sold, and how much it costs you to create a product. And then that brings you to your operating margins. So in her case, an online business, she had very healthy, very profitable operating margins. So this business owner had to consider whether she wanted to sell the business or invest money in the new technology, because the client base was eroding, right? So here is how my client resolved this challenge. And I always say when there's a challenge, there is an opportunity. So here's how she resolved it. After doing a business valuation and consulting with her family and trusted advisors, she realized that she could increase the valuation of her company by acquiring new and maintaining old clients, and in order to increase sales and profitability. Also, by encouraging family and non-family members to think about how best to improve existing products or to create new products and genuinely welcome new ideas, this business owner decided to allow the younger generation with opportunities to do experimentation and innovation of new products. So, working with advisors and family members, this particular business owner created a corporate governance structure to have a mix of family and non-family members with diverse backgrounds and experience, and to create a good working environment to promote and to encourage new ideas. So that's very important, right, when you work with a company, to be able to feel free to create new ideas. So this client was seeking for opportunities for outside alliances and collaboration in order to increase learning and the creation of new technology and new products. In other words, this entrepreneur had become more flexible. She had to become more flexible and to be inclusive and to be open to new and different ideas if she wanted to maintain the level of profitability in her business, and especially if she wanted to create a business succession plan. So this business owner decided to listen and learn from new ideas of family and non-family members who were engaged and committed to growing the company through innovation. This business owner provided open access to communication, to information, and ample rewards to recognition. And she also was open to collaborate with business partners in order to spread the financial risk of innovation. So as you could see, there was a desire of her to do a succession plan, but to be open and to be flexible to new ideas. She also created a separate organization. So the question would be, how would this innovation take place? Would this innovation take place within the existing organization, or will it be a separate unit? So this client decided that she also wanted to create a separate organization because this innovation venture would require greater financial risk and larger income and larger time horizon for creation and experimentation, as well as for family collaboration. In other words, this is going to be a longer term project that, it makes sense for her to create a separate organization because for accounting reasons or, corporate reasons, often corporations decide to do that. Also because, the type of people that are in the innovative organization are different mindset than the ongoing corporation, right? So one of the first things that this new organization resolved to do was to contact their clients and their prospects in order to gather ideas and to find out what was working, what areas needed improvement, right? It's important when you're working with a client to know, how happy your clients are and where do we need to improve, right? This is why you always see, well, perhaps not always, but oftentimes you see with companies, they're asking for feedback as to how do we do, were you satisfied, how can we improve. So this business owner also established a time frame to accomplish and to measure the success of they identify innovative goals. So they were able to have collaboration, they were able to identify innovative goals, they were able to have the necessary resources with the right people, the right time, in an effort to try to determine and to accomplish these innovative goals. So having a well-established plan and a course of action is important, right? So while I was doing this, writing this particular book and working with my clients, um, Entrepreneurs in Every Generation is a book that I had an opportunity to read and do a little bit of research on. The authors of Entrepreneurs in Every Generation are Alan Cohen and Pramadita Sharma. They specify the conditions supporting entrepreneurial and innovative behavior, right? So it's important to have a time frame and specific goals and objectives, right? So based on their research, they share companies' experiences and with 3 different levels of innovation, right? So companies that are interested in creating new products or doing innovation, oftentimes there will be 3 different areas that they could do. One of them, for instance, will be an incremental innovation, where people at every level of the organization are making frequent minor adjustments to everyday problems while they're doing their work. So that will be, incremental innovation, and it's a very cost effective and welcome within the organization. Another way of creating innovation will be something that we call the progressive innovation, right? So the progressive innovation is the application of a known tool or a technique, right, to an adjacent territories. So this technique or this new tool often leads to new products, the extension of existing business lines, for example, or a new application of existing technology to different areas. So again, as you're talking with your clients and figuring out what other services you are in a position to be able to help clients with, not only to increase sales and market penetration, but to maintain that client for a longer period of time, this progressive innovation often comes as a result of different ways of using existing techniques or existing tools that can be applied to other products that your clients have. So, and then a last, but is what we call a breakthrough, right? A breakthrough or a radical innovation. Those are where the entire new industry, product category, or a way of doing business is created. And not only is it created, but it's also sustained, right? So those are the breakthroughs or the radical innovations. So depending on your company situation, the resources that you might have available, the people, the overall company mission and the vision, you could implement any of those 3 innovation processes, whether you're doing incremental innovation or more progressive innovation or a radical innovation. So it all depends on what the overall goals of the organization are. So if a business owner wants to create a fertile environment for entrepreneurship and motivation and innovation, she should, on an ongoing basis, set aside discretionary funds, right, outside the regular operating budget for innovation, and should consider implementing some of the following practices. Um, these are some of the practices that are recommended to my clients. So, provide a clear entrepreneurial vision and reinforce the business vision and mission constantly, right? Because you, as a business owner, know you have the grand vision, you know what the mission of the organization is, but not all the employees do. So we need to constantly reinforce what is the business mission and vision, and whether or not what we're currently doing is in alignment with that, right? So that's an important practice. So everyone is expected to contribute innovation at all levels as part of their jobs. So if everyone knows that they need to be thinking about how they could improve the particular delivery or the particular service or the particular product that they're working on, that again is important, right? So that becomes part of the culture of the organization. Constant expectation of high improving performance with no penalties for failure, right? So in order for people to come up with new ideas, you as management, you as a business owner need to make sure that people are going to feel free to come up with new ideas. That if the idea doesn't work, there will be no penalties associated with any potential failures of that particular idea. So that's an important practice, right? To encourage people to participate and to come up with new ideas. Um, High levels of empowerment, right? So you need to be able to empower that person. Perhaps they need extra time, perhaps they need extra funds, right? So employees need to feel free to be creative and to have the resources to allow them to do so. So, as a business owner, you need to encourage employees to think holistically and to take reasonable risks. So, in other words, you need to create boundaries as to, you know, how much resources and how much resources in terms of time and money, for instance, is inappropriate for a particular innovation in a particular area within the organization. It is also important to reduce segmentation and boundaries between units. Oftentimes, especially when you're developing a particular product, they tend to be very segmented, right? So production does one thing, market does another thing, shipment does something else. I mean, they all have their specific duties, but oftentimes they don't, there are boundaries that are between those units. So the idea here is to be able to have all the various units collaborate with each other, so that if production has a better way of creating a widget, they could talk to management, they could talk to marketing. They have a better idea of how to deliver, ship a product. They should be able to talk to the right individuals who's in the organization and to prove and to encourage an exploration of that idea. So a business owner also needs to provide open access on information and, of course, ample rewards and recognition. So if somebody, as one of your employees, come up with a new product, a new idea, whether it's successful or not, it's important to be able to provide information and to be able to have proper recognition for your employees trying to come up with new ideas and with new product modifications, depending on what level of innovation you have decided to pursue. So the decision to expand your business by investing in new technology is very important. It's a very important consideration when creating a family business legacy plan, right? So my particular client, after strategic conversations um, with advisors, family members, and other stakeholders, my client decided to invest in new technology and to bring the company to the next level of sales and profitability. So, how they did that was by being open to possibilities and being honest, right? So, um, open to possibilities and being honest was the prevailing factor for that decision making process. Uh, for instance, it took a while for the founders' children to be open and to share why they felt comfortable in their participation in the organization, um, identifying their unique abilities, uh, and determining what other additional company responsibilities they felt comfortable managing, and having a conversation about that was important in terms of the planning for succession for as an entrepreneur. So this business owner established also procedures for governance. Always is very important, to have procedures for governance, to ensure that the right structure is in place within the family enterprise for future success, right? So that people don't have to guess whether or not something fits within the organization mission or vision. So, in closing, I would like to thank you for tuning into the Financial Legacy Podcast here with me, Maria Ellis. To learn more about how to work with me, go to financiallegacy.live. Here on the Financial Legacy Podcast, we're changing lives one person at a time to help you create and enjoy your financial success. Connect with us at financiallegacy.live for your complimentary consultation. Thank you.
In providing answers, neither Maria Ellis nor the Financial Legacy Podcast and guest speakers are acting as certified financial planners, advisors, certified financial analysts, CPAs, economists, accountants, or lawyers. Neither Maria Ellis or the Financial Legacy Podcast and guest speakers make any recommendations as to any specific securities or investments. All content is for informational and general purposes only and does not constitute as financial or legal advice. You should consult your own tax, legal, and financial advisors regarding your particular situation. Neither Maria Ellis nor Financial Legacy Podcast and guest speakers accept any responsibility for any loss that may arise from accessing or reliance from any information in this podcast. And to the extent permitted by law, we exclude all liabilities for any loss or damages derived directly or indirectly arising from the use of the information.